All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the Life Coaching Training Hangout here at coachinghangout.com. My name is Sean Adams. I almost forgot my own name. That was awesome. And I am the founder of these Hangouts. And today we are going to have two topics that we're going to talk about. One is that idea of how do you refer clients and referring coaching, that kind of thing. And the other is we're going to just discuss these Hangouts as they're currently structured. My current thought right now is that we are going to shift the focus slightly and possibly, actually probably shift the day and time as well. But all of that's still being explored, and that's what we're going to talk about. We are going to have one more of these coaching hangouts next Wednesday. That'll be our final one, and that one will be a celebration of what is almost 2 years of doing these. And but we'll talk about what this might transition into, and I'll get some feedback from you guys about that as we go on. But why don't we first just start by having everybody say hello, introduce themselves, do that usual thing, and then we'll go into the topic of referring clients and talk about a little bit about how this is going to transition into something new. So Dr. Allen, why don't you go ahead and say hello to the world first?
Well, hello everybody. I'm Dr. Alan Weinstein. I am hanging out here from the Great Berkshire Mountains in Massachusetts, where we're enjoying absolutely gorgeous weather, although the summer is coming to an end. I am the creator of a number of app tools called the VIP app that allows you to go live and bring your Hangouts like this one to really the desktop and all the mobile devices they have. So I've been here almost of the 2 years, which is fantastic, and I'm always happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. Thanks, Dr. Allen, for always being here. We're just going to go left to right because I don't remember who jumped in first. So, Nika, you can go next. Then we'll go to Wendy.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Nienke van Bezooijen from the Netherlands. I'm a speaker coach, international TEDx speaker coach. It's my joy and passion and profession to help others to create their life stories into a message worth sharing. I'm in these Hangouts for more than a year, really happy with it, and sometimes we do a bit of weather forecast all over the world. It's really autumn already here. It's no more than 15 degrees Celsius, and it's freezing.
Well, we're actually having overcast. We had a slight drizzle here in Northern California, which is something we have not seen all summer, and something that is desperately needed. And it's actually still overcast at this point, which is unusual. Usually any of the clouds will burn off by a good 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. So it's a little dreary today. Since you brought up weather, I thought I'd just run with that. Wendy, how about you? What are we looking at there in Australia?
I would like to say weather-wise too, I've decided I'm never living in double-bricked flats again because I've just been freezing. I moved last year because I had a freezing winter last year, and this flat's just as cold and I hate it. So either I'm moving to a warmer climate, probably Queensland, or I just have to find somewhere that's got better heating that's not so cold. So while we're on that weather thing, especially when you're getting up at 4 in the morning, my God, it's been a long winter. But apart from that, I'm Wendy. I run I'm sorry, I've just created a new elevator speech. So do you mind if I practice it?
Go for it.
Go ahead.
An integrated learning-centric business school for emerging leaders. Since 2010, we've been, I'm reading this, inspiring growth and success for organizations and shaping tomorrow's leaders to create a lasting and measurable impact in the business world. And that was very wooden because I was reading it, but I just wanted to have a go at it this morning. So thank you for giving me the space to have a go at that.
Of course. And it sounds good so far, and I'd love to talk about it some more. But it seems like a more concise summary of what it is you offer, so I like it.
Yes. And I
can do some speaker coaching about it if you want.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks. I've moved my focus slightly as well, so yeah, I'd love to have that conversation with all of you at some point.
Nice.
Great. Awesome. So welcome everybody, and I'm Sean Adams. I actually am the CEO of FinancialFreedomFunnel.com. I help small businesses achieve financial freedom through automation and simplification. How's that for an elevator speech?
Awesome.
Great.
You nailed it.
Thanks.
You nailed it.
I've been working on it for a while now. It's amazing how good you can get at an elevator speech when you just practice it over and over and over during a very, very long cross-country drive. And Dr. Allen understands cross country means something when you're talking about cross the U.S. It means a little less, I think, when you're talking about the Netherlands.
Yeah, well, you can do it in 2.5 hours, so that's it.
But not Australia. It has the same implications for Australia.
Yeah, Australia, cross Australia's. There's some effort to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
well, if you still want to move over here, it's very easy. If you go from south to north, it's 4 hours. If you go from east to west, it's 2.5 hours, depending a bit where you are. And then you cross the whole country, and cross some rivers, and you're from mountains to sea. So from Germany to Britain. So it's fine.
Nice.
It's very doable and cold.
Yeah, I remember living in Germany and how easy it was to. We would just rent cars every weekend, and we would go to a new country every weekend and spend the weekend.
Yeah.
Europe is quite phenomenal in that way.
Ninka, I just got my question answered. I had this question for 20 years. What's the difference between the Netherlands and Holland? Finally got it answered on Facebook last week.
Okay.
Now I'm clear on what the Netherlands is and what Holland is.
So explain that, because I don't know that.
Holland is a state of the Netherlands. You have South Holland and North Holland, and the Netherlands is the whole country.
So Netherlands is the country. So it would be like me saying that United States and California.
Yeah.
California is equivalent to Holland, and
Yeah.
United States is equivalent to Netherlands.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course we still have some connections with the Caribbean islands as well, and that's also the Netherlands. So that's a bit more sea to travel to get there.
Yeah, everyone owns a
yeah.
island in the Caribbean.
I think it's time they do their own job, but it's another topic.
Yeah.
Enough coaching about the islands, it's enough. Enough, it can be enough.
So now we've totally drifted. Sorry, go ahead.
Is now a country called New Holland, or we were New Holland?
New Holland, no. It's just you have North Holland and the south of Holland, and it's similar like living in England or in Britain. It's the difference. The people in the Netherlands don't like it so much if you just say Holland. It's just sort of.
Yeah.
We are already so small. If you make it even smaller.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is our country before it was renamed Australia.
Oh yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, but a bit larger. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got somebody from Holland, which is a part of the Netherlands. We have somebody who's from what was once known as New Holland, but is now Australia. We have somebody who is living just outside of New Amsterdam, which is now New York.
And then California probably has tulips. So there you go.
Something like that. Yeah. But actually, I'm not living in Holland. I'm living in just have to some nice Dutch taste to it in Gelderland. So it's more to. I live near the German border.
So you're actually in the Netherlands, not in Holland.
Yeah. I live half an hour from Germany.
All right. Now that we've had our global.
Wonderful.
Lesson.
Yeah.
There was something going around Facebook about can you answer these 10 geographical questions? And I got them all right, and I thought they were amazingly easy, and then I read later that like 68% of Americans get them wrong, and I'm like, how do you not know these things?
Yeah, if you say you come from the Netherlands, they say, oh, I love Copenhagen, it's really nice.
Nice. All right. Anyway, back to what we were talking about, which is coaching. Or what we were planning to possibly talk about, which is coaching. So today's topic was coaching referrals and referrals for coaching. And I think it's important that we this is an important piece from two perspectives. And the reason why we talked about this topic is, one, is it's come up a bunch of times, but also I just want to give my general overview, because there's two ways this comes in the world. One is, how do you handle receiving referrals from somebody else? And that can both be, how do you handle it just in an individual personal way, but it also can be, how do you handle it financially? Do you give that person a percentage of the money that you bring in, et cetera, et cetera? The other side of it then is, how do you go about professionally referring somebody to another coach if you happen to be coaching somebody who is not a right fit for you? So those are the two kind of main realms of this that I thought we would talk about. Is there any other form of coaching referral that I'm missing that you guys feel we should talk about?
I noticed you can have leads from companies as well. Do you treat that different?
Sure, yeah. Leads versus referrals can often be, I'm kind of putting that in the same packet of somebody else, either an individual or an entity, sends you someone else, and how do you go about?
Yeah.
That's kind of, I'm putting that in that same package of getting referred by someone else versus you referring someone to someone else.
Yeah.
I was going to
I
start
noticed
with the second one about getting how do you refer someone to someone else? Because this is, as coaching, we've talked about this, and we've talked a lot about how to find the right clients, make sure they're the right fit for you, et cetera, et cetera. But even after all of the stuff we've talked about, pre-qualification surveys and making sure that you're clear of your expectations at the beginning, you may still end up bringing somebody in as a client who actually ends up not being a right fit for you. They still want something different than what you do. That can be very that's a touchy area, because you don't want to offend the person and be like, look, I can't help you. You need somebody else's help. But you also want to make sure that they get in front of somebody who's better qualified to assist with what they actually need. A perfect example is a chiropractic office I'm working with. I'm helping them with their automation and their interaction with their clientele. And they wanted to talk about changing the brands and the websites and the colors. And I said, I'm not a branding expert. Here's a branding expert. Get that done. Once that's done, come back to me, and I'll build templates and everything around that. I'm not a branding expert. And admittedly, could I have charged them a large sum of money, said, I'm going to be your branding person, and then just on the sly hired this other person and like made a little bit of money off the side? I could have, but it wasn't worth it to me. It was just saying, here's a branding person, get your branding done, then come back to me, because it's just not worth my time even being involved in those conversations. And so that was an example of where I had to refer somebody to somebody who has better skills. They're still coming back to me for the automation piece, but for a piece they needed, I was not the person, and I handed them off to someone else. So part of it is knowing who you are and what it is you actually deliver to know when it's appropriate for you to pass somebody on. Other thoughts on that, like just the big picture of having somebody and having to refer them to somebody else?
Yeah, can I share the story why this came up? I brought the whole thing up because I have a colleague friend who mainly coaches women, and she's very passionate about it, and she gave just a speech or a talk, and a lot of males were in the room as well, and they came to her and said, oh, can you coach me too? And she said, yes, of course, I do all kind of people, and she was really branded onto female. And she even posted that on Facebook. Yeah, I'm doing a man as well now. And after the first session, she posted big on Facebook, I will never do that again because I will stay focused into female and stuff like that. The whole ethical thing on posting that on Facebook, well, that's another kind of thing. But she made clear her focus was on the female part. And that's what made me wonder, what do you do if you find out if it isn't the right fit? And you made sure to your client in the chiropractical world, you're not the one who does the branding. So in my case, if they come for me for business coaching, I will refer to someone else now. Although I did it for a long time, because I just want to focus on the speaker and speaking skills. Yeah. So that's what I was wondering. Apart from the ethical part, how she announced the whole thing, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, well, I think you brought up a couple things. One thing I want to touch base on really quick is when you said you even though you've done business in the past, you're not doing it anymore. That's really important to know when something just isn't what it is that you want to be doing. That's a hard thing for a lot of folks to be able to have the courage to say, because we're so often, a lot of times, especially people new to coaching, are just desperate to get any coaching clients, and so they'll take anyone who comes along, even if they're not a good fit. So it's important to know, this is what I do, even though I may have these talents. Like, I've published a best-selling book. I'm a best-selling author with Amazon, but I don't coach people on how to become a best-selling author. I helped a friend off on a side conversation, and he's now an international bestseller because he's been bestseller in the U.S. and multiple foreign countries. But that's not what I do. So if somebody
and that's not coaching.
Yeah, I don't coach people on how to become a best-selling author. And I just, even though it's a talent I've done it, I know how to do it. It's not who I am, it's not how I brand myself. So I need to be sure to not be able to say that. So I wanted to acknowledge that, because I think that's an important point. Clarity on who it is that you are, what it is you do, and who your client is very important. And her problem came, your client's problem came about because she basically sold out to something that wasn't her clients. She said, I work with women, this is what I want to do. A man said, will you coach me? And she said yes, and then she took it on, and it turned out to not be what she wants to do. To me, that's more her fault than anyone else's fault for choosing to not acknowledge her own self. And then, to be honest, to go out there and say, like, to announce it publicly, because that's what Facebook is. If you put something on Facebook, you are announcing publicly what you are doing.
Yeah, it wasn't a private message. It was just a public message.
Yeah, and so to me, that actually, from a business perspective, that's how you kill your own business. It reminds me of, there was this whole, Chef Ramsay does these things where he goes in and helps restaurants to become better. And he went into this bakery, and the people were just horrible. It was the worst thing ever. And they got bad reviews, and instead of just writing back saying, I'm sorry you had a bad experience, they wrote back negatively, vehemently against the person, and it turned into this giant social media nightmare for them. To the point where people now were so offended by this restaurant, they would go in, they would order, and they would walk out without paying just to screw them over because they were so rude to people on social media. That's how you kill your business, is by bad-mouthing anything. Dr. Allen asked me a question about something earlier before we went live, and what I informed him is I don't discuss that. And he agreed. He doesn't discuss it either. But it was something that had come up that we had both been involved with. But it was that thing of, you just don't talk about it. Let it go. Move on. Do your own thing. If you have a bad experience, you can write to the person and see if there's a way to make it better. But sometimes people are just never going to be happy, and that's life. But you don't ever badmouth people, especially half of the planet, by saying, I will never work with men. That will significantly, because not only does that mean she's never going to get a male client, but what it also means is any male who might have had a female they might have wanted to recommend to her are now going to say, wow, she's kind of rude, I wouldn't bother, here's somebody else.
Well, it's the disqualification of coaching as well.
Yeah. For
me, it was a total, I was just blown away. I'd never expected anything like that from her. And I wouldn't refer to her because of that.
Yeah.
To bring it back to the topic. Because if you do this to some of your clients, no matter what happened, make it publicly and say you're so empathic and social and whatever. This proves it immediately, totally. So I would never refer to a coach like that. Regarding it's my friend, but it's a total no. Professionally, it wasn't professionally.
Well, and I think some of the things to keep in mind is, one, she did it publicly, which was a big mistake. Two, you even have to be careful about how you do it privately. I mean, I 100% trust Dr. Allen, and I could tell him anything confidentially, and we could talk about something and complain about something, and it would be totally between the two of us, and I know that because I trust Dr. Allen. He doesn't talk to anybody about anybody behind their back. But I still chose not to even discuss the topic because it just wasn't even worth it. So you still have to be careful about talking about it even in private, and it's because all of that, the more you focus in on the negative, the things that aren't going well, the more you're going to be inviting that into your life. Just if something bad happens, acknowledge it.
It's a habit.
See if you can fix it, and if you can't fix it, move on. Do not care. Don't dwell on it. Other thoughts from you guys, for Dr. Allen, Wendy, on this about referrals, bad referrals, good referrals. How do you kind of go about doing that? Go ahead, Dr. Allen.
Yeah, well, first I want to talk about if I do refer somebody out. If I refer somebody to somebody else, I never expect a percentage unless it's an affiliate type of situation where I'm referring somebody for something else I think they need, and then I'm totally transparent. It would be, hey, I'm going to refer you to this person. I want you to know I am an affiliate of this person, and I am going to get an affiliate commission, but that's not why I'm referring you to that person. I'm referring you to that person because I think they have something you need. So that's number one. So, but usually.
And I want to pause really quick, Dr. Allen, because that's really important. Total transparency.
Yeah.
If you're going to get paid as an affiliate, tell them up front. Do not pretend. Do not try to hide it. Do not anything like that. Hey, I love this product. I'm supporting it, and I'm doing it as an affiliate, and I will get paid some on the back end if you're interested. Be transparent. It changes the dynamic, and your people are going to trust you and buy other people's products more often because you were clear and transparent at the beginning. I didn't want anybody to not get that because that's super important. Go ahead, Dr. Allen.
It's a must. A must.
Absolutely, it's a must. If you don't do that, you've totally broken the trust you have with that client.
Yep.
You just ended your relationship because ultimately they're going to know that that was the situation, so that's going to come up number one. The second thing is, with other professionals, let's say in the coaching business, I don't trade services, I don't barter services. I'm totally transparent about that also. So in other words, if someone comes to me, even another coach, let's say someone that was referred to me, I don't even give discounts to other people that even might be coaches that want to work with me. I just think that those things should be on the up and up. If my services are worth it for my clients, well, they should be worth it for you, whether you're in the coaching business or not. So I don't have a different scale. My scale's the same for everybody when they come to me. And actually, I do refer people away from me to other people, and especially if I know right off the bat, and you know I have a disqualifying questionnaire I use, I will tell people right from square one, look, I'm going to tell you right now, I know we're not a good match, and 70% of this relationship will be based on how you and I interact and the relationship that we build. And I just know at this particular point from our preliminary discussions that we will not work together. I might be too abrupt. They might be too sensitive for me. They might just bring something to the table that raises a red flag for me. There might be personal issues that I think they need to deal with first, where I'll say, listen, what you're telling me here is really more of a personal issue. You're coming to me for a coaching for your business, but you're laying out all these personal issues. I think that's something you need to deal with first, and then maybe in the future that we could work that out. And I will refer somebody. Sometimes I will refer people because they just can't afford my services. And when I say, and let me just preface it by saying this, when someone can't afford my services, it is rarely a money issue. It is really that they haven't gotten to the point yet where they see the value in working with a coach, so as a consequence they put a dollar number on it. And I'll always say to those people when they ask me, well, how much is it going to cost? Before I give them that answer, I'll always say, well, let me ask you this question. If I said to you that my coaching services were free, would you think they were better for you than if I gave you another number? In other words, are you going to make a determination today if you're going to work with me based on how much I cost, or based on you see that there could be value in your business? Forgetting what that number is, because there's always a number that will work. But if you think that your total decision on this is the cost factor, then we probably shouldn't work together, because you really need to base it on what's in it for you, what's in it for your business, can we work together and achieve your goals. So I will refer people out that are, one, they have the wrong issue, that they don't realize it. Number two, I don't get a sense that they're sincere what they're looking to do. Number three, they're looking for a scapegoat to justify why they're not successful, and they want to blame somebody else rather than themselves. And if the value they put on the coaching is related to the cost factor rather than the value factor.
And I think those are three really important pieces to kind of explore, because you're right. Those are the three main reasons why you wouldn't have somebody. They don't match what you're doing. They are looking for something from you that you aren't or don't want to be, or they're just
not ready.
They have expectations that are unfair. Go ahead, Nico.
Yeah, or not ready.
Yeah. Yeah, like for me, I mean, I have my disqualification survey, and if you don't have $5,000 to put towards marketing and automation, don't talk to me, because that's what it costs to hire me, to do your automation for you, to set up your systems and build your campaigns and opt-ins and all that stuff. It's going to cost you that. If you don't have that much money, to like in your marketing account and you don't know where you would find that, then we're not going to work together. I'm not going to do it for you at 500 because that's not worth my time. It's going to take me 10 hours. I'm well worth more than whatever that would be. What, $50 an hour? That's not my hourly rate. And so that idea of knowing what my value is, sticking to it, and honoring that is very important, and acknowledging that and being on top of that's the right thing. So it makes sense. I think that's important. Wendy, any thoughts on all this as well?
No, not really. I haven't really had any experience yet of people coming to me that haven't been the right fit. And with my coaching process, if the personal stuff comes up in the context of the business stuff, I like to do that because it's that inner game stuff, you know, the blind spots, the unconscious stuff that's driving the business behavior. So I'm quite excited to keep working with them. So no real thoughts. The only thought that's kind of related to that is when you've been working with someone a long while and they want to keep working with you, should you keep working with them? And I used to say no, you know, like there should be a finite time, 6 months, etc. But now that I'm doing it, I realise that you can keep going because there's still a lot of stuff that you can work through, and if the relationship is good, then why not? One of my 12-monthers wants to keep going for another 6 or 12 months. And probably when I was new to it, I would have said, oh, no, you know, we need to stop now, you need to get on with your life. But now, you know, like she's not dependent on me, and there's still more that we could do, so I've changed my view on that as well. So that's sort of in the context of right client, etc.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge piece is that idea of knowing, like, what you said about the fact that she's not dependent on me, and there's still more that we can do. Like, if it's stagnant and you're just accepting payment because she just wants somebody to talk to, that wouldn't necessarily be the right choice. But if you are helping this person move forward, they're still getting benefit, there's still progress being made, I think that's absolutely right to be able to still keep them. Even if you're shifting away. I mean, I still have occasional clients who I still hold on to that are from way previous iterations of my coaching. But that's because we've got a system, I know what I'm doing with them, and it doesn't take away from where I'm going and what my new branding is. It's an established relationship, and I'm still able to benefit them. So I thought those were two really important things to note. She's not dependent, and there's still growth that can happen. Those are huge.
Yeah. The other thing is, in your case, Wendy, it still can be related. A personal development and a business development, it's very close to each other. If I get someone who wants to be an awesome speaker, but also wants to make business out of it, of course I will help too, because that's some kind of related thing. If they want business coaching on an administration business or whatever, it's a no. So if it's still a bit related, I don't mind so much, but I don't do totally separate things. If someone would come across to you, Wendy, can you give me speaker coaching? You would say no.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
So that's the difference for me, to make that real focus, what's still aligned with what you want to do, and what's totally out of it, or not in your field what you want to do. Make that sure for yourself, and I think you have a pretty sure what you want, but it's a wider range than perhaps one of us will have.
Yeah, it's the same idea of where I will help some small businesses with basic social media knowledge. If they don't understand the basics of social media, I can teach them that, and I can make that part of what I do with them. But I am not a social media consultant. I don't claim to be. I never want to be. It's not my realm. I know enough that if I've got a small business that I'm working with, and they're like, well, we want to at least have a presence online. Do you have a fan page? Do I have a what? Okay, great. I can help them at least do the basics, get everything in place. If they then want help on posting and what's the right way to post and how do I promote this post and how do I do ads and blah, that's when I stop. I'll be like, look, I'll get your pages set up, I'll get it looking right, you'll have everything. If you want to take it to the next level because you're seeing some benefit from what we've done, here's some folks I can refer you to who can do some great work with you. So I am not social media, even though it is a piece I could add in to a limited amount because I have some basic knowledge. So I think that's a good point.
I think you brought up something really good there also, and that is in terms of referring, I try to have a team of people that I know, like, and trust that I can refer to. I think a couple of months ago, someone contacted me, and I felt, well, that Infusionsoft might be the right direction for them. However, I don't know anything about Infusionsoft, so I referred them to Sean because if you recall this, Sean, I said, call Sean Adams. He is, someone who knows Infusionsoft, and anyone I have that wants to work with Infusionsoft, I'm going to send to Sean. So I have that referral team. I also have worked with someone that Sean works with also, Justin French. I do a lot of marketing consulting for a lot of different businesses, and one of the things they needed was for someone to manage their social media. That was not in my expertise, but I make it very clear I have those connections to get you to the best people that will be able to do that for you. And in those times, if I do have a relationship where, as I said before, that I am getting some type of financial reward, I will make it clear. Although most of those relationships, I don't have that thing. Like with Sean, it's very cut and dry. I want to refer him to Sean because he's the best one for what they need, not because he's going to pay me money. So I like to have a team available that I know right away someone needs this. Boom, that's who you want to speak to. And I will refer to people outside. That's not my area of expertise. And Sean, you made me think of it when you were just talking.
Well, and I think that's also a really important point is you do need to have that list of people you can refer to. Who is that person who can help them with their business side or the social media side or the whatever it might be? And the one thing you always want to have in your list of people that you can refer folks to is somebody who can help with mental health issues. We've talked about this numerous times on lots of these Hangouts. We are coaches. We are not counselors. We are not trained to be counselors. We are not trained to deal with those things. If in one of your coaching sessions something comes up where you know they need professional help in that realm, you don't want to be like, this seems like something where you need help. And I think you should try to find somebody. Especially because if it gets to that point, those are serious issues. That is a point where you want to say, call this person, here's the number. Even if you don't work with them, they will start getting you the help you need. You've got to have that person, that connection in your, to go old school, in your Rolodex, because that is one of those things that is a referral you absolutely need to be ready to make at any moment depending on what comes on. I've coached a person who did have some mental health issues, got that person help immediately through a connection I had. They didn't actually go with that person, but that person was able to find them somebody in their local community they could see the next day, that afternoon actually, to address what was going on. That is a huge importance when it comes to having people to be able to refer to.
Yeah, and I don't get paid for that.
Oh, I don't even care. That's not
in the warm network. I don't get paid for things like that. Sometimes in companies, if it's a company will just refer people.
I don't see that as a referral. I don't even talk about it as a referral. I don't look at that as part of my business plan. That is getting someone the help they absolutely have to have. It's it's still in the idea of referrals, and I wanted to make sure we talked on it because that is that one thing everyone should have. But it is not part of the, I'm going to refer you to the person who's better. It is, we're getting you the help you immediately need for your safety. Wendy, what were you going to say?
I would like to share a matrix with you because it's very timely and it's in that thing. So I just researched recently because I wanted to measure this client that wants to continue for another few months at least. So I wanted to measure our progress. And so I found this beautiful model that was devised by the person that originally trained me. And it's based on the positive psychology stuff, the Martin Seligman stuff. So it's a matrix of 4 boxes. Basically, if your client is in the left-hand box.
Can you tell us what maybe the name of this is? See if I can find a version online to show people.
Yeah, sure. It took me a while to kind of find it as well, but it's called the Wellbeing and Engagement Framework by Grant and Spence, 2010. I eventually found it when I looked up images, I think. But anyway, then I kind of recreated it myself because, no, I couldn't find it actually, but I had it in some original notes that he gave me, but I couldn't find it. That's right, so I recreated it. So basically, if I was more savvy with Google, I'd pull it up from my documents, but I'm still getting good at that stuff.
Is this it?
Oh, you found it. Oh, that's it, and that's exactly the notes that I had. Isn't that funny? I couldn't find that when I was looking for it. Oh,
It's
okay.
Sean.
Well done, well done. Yeah, okay, so there are the 4 boxes. So basically it says, rather than return on investment, so how's your business going? A lot of times clients will come in wanting to be more engaged with their career, with their business, at work, and the personal stuff comes up. So therefore, logically, this was seen as being a good way to measure it, rather than business results. As people will say, you know, it's hard to measure because that's dependent on a lot of other stuff, that return on investment, tangible results. So this is a good one to use. So how far have you moved? When you first came into coaching, which box were you in? And are you in a different box now, which means you've moved and things are going well. What this article also says, if they're in the bottom left-hand corner, distressed and disengaged, that is the burnout zone, where they've probably got some mental health issues, really serious issues that is not within our domain. So that's just a really good tangible matrix to use. Perhaps when you're assessing in the beginning whether you should be working with them or not. So if they're in 3 boxes, great. But if they're in that distressed and disengaged, then refer them somewhere else. I did for the video, you have to do, oh, that's different. Okay. So yeah, that's I love this now. I'm going to use it when I do my review session with my 12-month client next week. We're gonna use that. I mean, we use other stuff as well, but we're going to use that as a measure of I guess how successful the coaching's been so far.
So you're saying that the goal here is you want to see if they're in one of these 3 boxes, if they're in the upper left, or lower right, they actually need coaching of some sort, and the goal is to drive them to the upper right. Is that kind of the idea?
Yes, exactly. The goal is for all of us to be in that flourishing zone, which means basically we're happy at home, we're happy at work. So we have long periods where we're actually feeling really, really good. Yeah, so we're engaged at work, we like our careers, everything's going well at home and out of work. So we're basically, yeah, we're flourishing. That's the new...
Is there a questionnaire that accompanies this?
Not that I've seen.
So how do you get them? How do you decide? How do you put them in a box here? I'm missing it, I think.
You probably, I don't know, maybe that's behind the scenes and that's further in the Martin Seligman work. I think it is, because I've seen that flourishing concept
Okay.
Somewhere else. But for the purposes of this, I wasn't really looking for checklists because we were just going to talk through it. Where do you think you are? And I think in the context of the article that Sean pulled up, it was really just asking them, getting them to talk about that. Tell me about that, you know, what you were like when you first came in, blah, 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 blah. What are you feeling like now? That's what I was going to do with the client next week.
Yeah, I think for an example, when I work with a small business, the reason why in my elevator speech I talk about I help small businesses achieve financial freedom. I never say I'm going to increase their profits. I never say they're going to increase their number of clients. What I do is I make it so that they're a better overall well-being by sometimes they may have all the money they want coming in, they may have all the business they want, they can't actually take in more business, but they're spending too much time doing too many things that are taking too much, and they're not getting time at home, or they're doing things that are not within their strengths, and so they're feeling really disconnected and disconcerted, so their engagement with their job is low. So that's the reason why I said that I help businesses achieve financial freedom, is I help through automation and simplification. I find the things that are keeping them from having well-being, and I've never used this language, but this is great language to have, so thank you, Wendy. I help identify the things that are keeping them from a state of well-being and the things that are causing them to feel disengaged with their business, and then we address those problems. It's not a way of assessing where they're at. It's a matter of, so what is it that you want for your small business? And more often than not, it's not, oh my God, we need 30 more clients. A lot of times it's we have more people than we can handle, but we're doing the wrong thing too often, or we don't have a way of really helping the client. Like, I spend all my time calling up clients, checking in with them, or I spend all my time replying to emails, or whatever it might be, reminding people of their next appointments. Where there's ways to, like, my acupuncture office is great. You set up your appointment, you get a reminder. The moment you set up your appointment, you get a reminder the day before your appointment, all automated, all on email, just saying, hey, don't forget, this is when your appointment is, here's who it's with, here's the time, blah, 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 with whatever information you want to remind people to know. If you can get that set up for a small business, their front office people are no longer having to go in, check, and see, all right, who has an appointment tomorrow? Let's email them and remind them. Because that's what ends up happening with a lot of small businesses. By automating it, now the people at the front office get to focus strictly on the people who are coming in for their appointments, their needs, they're giving better customer service, which is what they wanted to do anyway, why they wanted to be the front of the house people, because they love talking to the clients. So if you can diminish the amount of time they're doing the stuff that makes them feel disengaged from interacting with the clients and give them the chance to do more of that, they're happier and it brings them towards that right quadrant. Is that the concept, Wendy?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Does that help give a little clarity to you as well, Dr. Allen? I'm that from Wendy's explanation and how I function, I think that's a good explanation.
Yeah, I think it was okay. I think I was looking for something different. I mean, I think your explanation was good, but I was actually thinking there was something a little more objective about putting him in a certain box. I thought maybe there was something I was missing.
Well, I think that's at least my assessment of this with the brief overview of what I'm looking at. It looks like it's not that you can say this because this person scored this on this thing that they are disengaged, but I think it also can be actually found in. I'm willing to bet, knowing your pre-qualification survey, if you look at it, Dr. Allen, from that perspective of, is this qualification survey saying if they're engaged or not, and do they have the well-being they want or not? I'm betting you can read somebody's pre-qualification survey, and you can stick them into a box.
Yeah, probably right, probably correct.
Yeah, because
yeah.
to me it seems less quantifiable, and it's more of a gut-based on thing.
Cool.
Yeah, correct. And I know they've started using it in workplaces too, where they're taking the positive education model in with the idea being they want their staff to be in that flourishing box, and they're trying to move staff away from that burnout list because, of course, then that's occupational health and safety issues and all that kind of thing.
And I think it's really a brilliant concept because it is that idea of somebody may love their job, but they may not love what they do at their job. And if you can get them from doing the things they hate to doing the things they love, that they're skilled at, that they like to do, it's going to make them more engaged and want them to be in the office more. Same thing with well-being. If it's an unhealthy environment, they're not going to want to come in. If it's a super happy, positive, healthy environment. I mean, my new office literally is a barn in the backyard of somebody's house. But I'm surrounded by nature. I've got beautiful view of trees. I'm isolated. The place is cute and rustic. Here, I'll show you guys how it's set up. It's a little crazy. But I've gone through, that's my view out the door. So I've got beautiful trees to look at. I've got decorations along the wall, sitting area for me, the important books that I need. It's even got I've got my trees and my plants and healthy energy going on everywhere. So it's a wonderfully healthy environment. So even if I'm stressed and I have a lot to do, my environment doesn't contribute to that. My environment supports my well-being, and I think that's that idea. If you can find ways to improve the well-being environment, it's going to help as well.
I think that's my whole de-nesting process at the moment as well. It's sort of make it into a healthy working environment in my own place.
Yeah, exactly. You're creating your home the way you want it to be so that it fits right for you, feels right.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with everybody. I no longer the part of the reason why I'm living out of an hotel right now, and I don't have a place to live, is that I was in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I said I'm not working from home anymore. It's unhealthy. I don't have a life. I just sit and work nonstop all the time. I need to have physical separation between my office and my home. So I'm downsizing basically from a 2-bedroom to what ironically now the place I'm looking at to move into is a 2-bedroom as well. But it doesn't matter. Like, I have what was most important to me, more than even having a bed to sleep in, was finding an office space that was right for me, for my well-being. Now I walk to work, I'm in a great environment, I feel happy in this space, and I then can worry about, and when I close the door and lock up, work is done. I'm not checking my emails, I'm not, or even if they do come in, it's not something where I can just go and fix it. I'm not even going to have internet at home because I don't want to get online and I don't want to get in that habit. So it's making those choices and helping other people to identify those things. So just my own personal experience of kind of going through this, creating a well-being environment.
But that's something you could tell your coachees as well if it happens.
Exactly. This is my experience. It can also be something that could help you.
Yeah. I can literally close the door between living space and working space. So it's on the same floor, but I can close the door and nothing goes in. Done. So
Yeah,
for me it works.
I'm in a great environment. I live in the woods. I moved here, 14, 15 years ago. I am literally in the woods. I mean, they don't even deliver mail where I live. You have to go get it. And the post office is about 12 miles away, so I never go there. So sometimes I don't get my mail for 6 weeks. I always tell people, if you want me to get it, don't ever mail it to me, because it has to either be online or never going to happen. But I'm terrible at separating, because I work at home. I'm terrible about separating my work environment. So I never leave work, which is one of the reasons why I ride a motorcycle. A motorcycle, you are totally disconnected from everything. You really are not. There's no way for me to get online. I can't open my email, and that is really my time to really sort of, get down from everything I do all the time, because I really I work all the time also, so that's definitely an issue.
Drive to the mailbox.
I don't go there usually, but I could go there.
Kidding. Kidding.
But I think that's important. Like, you still have your thing that is healthy for you, that your way of disconnecting, your way of and to be, I mean, Dr. Ellen, you've worked with me long enough. That's how I used to be. I used to work all the time. I mean, first thing in the morning, I would take my phone with me to the bathroom and scan through what emails I had to address immediately. I'm like, the biggest step I ever took was getting an alarm so that my cell phone would stay out of my bedroom and I would get woken up, and the only clock in my office was an alarm clock. So I knew what time it was, and I had a way to get up in the morning if I had to be up at a specific time. But the phone, because if I used my phone as my alarm, I would hear every text message, every email, and I needed to make that like, no, that's life, and this is my life, and my life is more important than that. I still make plenty of money. I still focus in and can work, a 12-hour day if a 12-hour day is needed. But it is not. I needed to make that change to my life to be healthier.
And it can be a choice for everyone else, everyone different. As long as you are aware what works for you, that's the main thing. And if it affects you in your work, let's bring it back to coaching. If it affects your coaching because you're always there, and affects you in a negative way, just make sure you do something what's more healthy for you. For me, was really helpful is that my autistic daughter moved out. Literally, could breathe again. So now it's my working place. It's my own space. I make it my space, and I'm far more productive in the same place because the whole environment changed.
And that is key. That is key, is just knowing what it is that you need for your environment to be right and healthy. Yeah. I'm not saying working from home is bad. I'm saying it was bad for me.
In the way you did it.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about environments, I've hit the wall. I've hit crisis point as well, because I cannot close anything off. I am in the lounge room. I'm surrounded by home-based stuff. So what happens with me is basically I've got personal stuff, like there's washing over there that needs to be folded. So I can go through days and I haven't done any work really, and it's really affected my productivity. I can't stand the fact that I've got nothing between home and work. but I don't know what to do about it. Although I should say I don't know what to do about it, but I've started going to the library, and that's made such a difference. I know eventually I'll have to rent some space somewhere and separate home and office, but I don't want to spend the money at the moment because it's not cheap to rent office space anywhere. So I'm just going to do some sort of transition plan where I at least leave the house. Yesterday I went to 2 different libraries. They kicked me out of the first one because they were having a team afternoon, so they got kicked me out at 12 o'clock. Then I went to another one, but I got 4 hours of solid, uninterrupted, focused work that's been sitting there for 3 months that I've been meaning to get to when it's been at home and I haven't. So to me, that is the power of separating work from home.
And I think that's a really important point. I was talking about how work was keeping me from being able to actually do what I needed to in my own personal life, but that's also true that if there's something you need to do for work and you're working from home, you can almost always find something that has to get done at home to distract you from doing that thing that you may not love but know you need to do for work. And so that is an absolute danger as well. So that's important. Thanks.
I have a big guiding dog, and it's called my partner, and he takes care of all these stuff. And I said, well, you need to get to your work stuff. But I will never take lunch in my working space. I will go to the living room and have my lunch over there. I never eat in my workplace. I do have a cup of tea or something, but my breaks are never here. They're always out. So that's really a habit I made into it. And there is really no personal stuff in my working place that comes around the corner when I open the door and I pass the cat space, and then, well, it's there. But it's not mixed up at all, and that's how I keep myself safe.
So I'm gonna pause here for a second, and being that it is now almost 1 o'clock, I'm gonna suggest that next week our topic is healthy life as a coach.
Good one.
Because I think that's a great one to kind of end this series of coaching hangouts. I think let's do that. Are you guys up for that?
Yeah, really nice. How do you keep yourself healthy as a coach? Healthy
and I
coach.
love that everyone has laughed at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the question is, are there any healthy coaches?
Well, so this is my thing. What I'm realizing is there has to be. Just like Dr. Allen and I were talking, and even Wendy was in on that conversation a little earlier about a field that I used to be part of that I won't work in anymore because of a way that an approach that's taken there. You know what? There's got to be a way to do it in a way that's positive.
I think so.
And I think we figure it out. We talk about it. I think some of the stuff we've talked about today is getting us there, but I think there's a lot more that we can talk about to really explore how can we have a healthy life as a coach. I think that's a great topic for next week.
Cool.
Great.
Awesome.
Great.
All right, well, thank you guys for being here. As always, we're going to do any last thoughts. I'm just going to go left to right. Last thoughts, then we're going to wrap up, and I'll see you guys next week. Dr. Allen, any last thoughts?
No, I just think that when you choose coaching, you make a lot of choices about where your life is going, and I think the direction we're going in today, combined with next week, is going to be very revealing for people that are coaches, which I think is a terrific thing.
I agree. Thanks. Ninka?
Well, if we started off with the whole referral thing and payment stuff, but what comes across my mind is if you not healthy yourself, not living healthy, the whole referral thing is not even an issue.
Yeah, and I'm glad you kind of brought it back to the topic of what we were talking about with referrals, is that unless you have balance in your life and you're on top of, like, all of this other stuff isn't going to work anyway. So I think that's a great point, which is why next week's topic is so important. Wendy, thoughts?
Yeah. No, just to add to the topic of next week, as part of that topic, the energy. How do you protect your energy and not absorb the energy of the client? I find myself, I can even absorb the energy of my client through Google Hangouts, so that's something that I need to be mindful of for staying healthy as a coach, so it'd be good to explore that a little bit as well.
Awesome. I definitely think
it's a total package of being healthy.
Yeah.
It's the
All
whole
right, I
thing.
know you got to go, Dr. Allen. Thanks for being here. We'll talk.
Okay, guys, I'll talk to you next week.
Okay, great.
Bye, Ellen.
Team.
All right.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, Sean.
Thank you, guys. This is fun. We'll have one more call next week, and then we'll talk about what this might turn into in the future and possibly find better times for folks.
Okay.
It's fine. Enjoy your environment.
I will.
Love you.
I was too. Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.